This story is spreading rapidly across platforms, from TikTok to X, Twitter. J.D. Vance, a senator, a leading conservative voice, and one of the most talked-about figures in American politics, has publicly apologized to his wife following a viral incident involving him and Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. The clip capturing J.D.'s apology quickly exploded online, drawing millions of views and hundreds of thousands of reactions. Some called it the most heartfelt apology of the year, while others dismissed it as a calculated move to protect his public image. And surprisingly, it all began with a single hug.
If you're someone who's in a committed relationship, you do not caress anyone but your partner like that. So, would you caress your brother, your dad, your uncle, your stepdad, any family? Would you caress them like that when you gave them a heartwarming hug? Most people would say no. I know there's people out there who would say yes, but there's always going to be freaks. That is a hug that you give someone that you lay in bed with, someone that you're close with.
I'm not one to gossip, but there are a lot of people out there saying, secret lover.
A brief moment on stage between J.D. Vance and Erika Kirk was captured, shared, and dissected frame by frame, sparking a wave of controversy that has persisted for weeks. First came the online buzz, followed by a flood of backlash, and now, a public apology that has everyone talking nonstop. The question circulating everywhere is simple yet divisive. Is JD's apology truly sincere, or is it a calculated effort to manage the fallout? Is he apologizing to Usha, his longtime wife, over his connection with Erika? Or is the public reading too deeply into what might be a political gesture? One thing is certain, no one can look away from this unfolding story. It carries every hallmark of a modern political drama: power, public image, emotion magnified through the lens of social media, and a global apology that has divided audiences worldwide. Is this a moment of honest remorse, or a flawlessly staged act? Let's return to where it all began, the clip that set everything in motion. It was filmed at a Turning Point USA event, where Erika Kirk took the stage as host and introduced Senator J.D. Vance.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President J.D. Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. J.D. Vance.
And then, the defining moment unfolded, right there on stage, beneath the bright lights and the roar of the audience. Erika stepped forward and embraced J.D. Vance. It appeared to be a simple, friendly gesture of respect and appreciation. But the internet saw it differently. Viewers slowed the footage down, examining every movement, every expression, and every fleeting glance.
Married men, to my married men out there, and taken men as well, all right? When you hug another woman that is not your partner, are you doing full body hug? And the hand on the waist? Bruh, the hand on the waist. Are you able to walk back to your partner, to your boo thing, without having your head completely removed from your body? Those photos and that moment was weird. And again, aren't you like hugging them like this? Butt out, like this. You're not doing the whole pelvis to pelvis, holding the waist, her hand in the back of your head. I'm telling you right now, you are not going to be alive the next morning.
By the next morning, J.D. Vance and Erika Kirk had become the most talked about names across social media. While the internet buzzed with endless theories, J.D.'s wife, Usha, chose to remain silent. And that silence only intensified the speculation. Each time Usha appeared in public, even for a brief moment, cameras zoomed in, searching for any sign of emotion. A look, a faint smile, or even the slightest frown. Yet, she showed nothing. No words, no visible reaction. And ironically, that restraint only made the public even more intrigued. Soon, the story spiraled far beyond control. It was no longer just about a fleeting moment on stage. It had become a three-person saga: a quiet wife, a senator facing mounting scrutiny, and a widow whose every gesture was analyzed frame by frame. Everything was unfolding online, in real time. And once TikTok took hold of the narrative, there was no turning back. Reaction videos flooded every platform, some showing the hug in slow motion with somber piano music, Others cutting to Usha looking distant at another event captioned, "She knows." There were even dramatized recreations turning the story into short TV-style scenes. Over on X, Twitter, the debate became even more intense. Major influencers jumped in with their own opinions, some defending Erika, saying she was simply expressing empathy and kindness, while others claimed she had gone too far, blurring the line between compassion and controversy.
These are my morning pants.
That's the American dream. Divorcing your brown wife and marrying a white blonde one whose husband exploded.
He reminds me of my husband in so many ways.
Even political commentators began weighing in, joking, "This is what happens when politicians start acting like influencers." For JD Vance, it may have been nothing more than a friendly moment on stage, but for the internet, it transformed into a symbol of emotion, doubt, and perceived betrayal, all condensed into just a few seconds. Then came the moment that reignited everything. At a recent event, JD Vance delivered a speech about family, faith, and responsibility in public life, seemingly routine. But one line changed everything. "Sometimes in public life, the people we love pay a price for our presence, and that's something I deeply regret." That single sentence set social media on fire. Short clips of the speech spread rapidly, captioned, "JD Vance publicly apologizes to his wife following the Erika Kirk incident." Major news outlets quickly jumped on the story. Some described it as an emotional public apology, while others framed it as a quiet admission of personal guilt. In truth, JD's original meaning might not have mattered. The timing was perfect to fit the ongoing narrative. When viewers heard his tone, slow, deliberate, and slightly emotional, they each interpreted it through their own lens. Watching the entire speech reveals something far less dramatic. JD was speaking about the pressures of political life, the toll of constant scrutiny, and how gossip affects the people closest to him. But in the age of viral media, context rarely matters. Once a quote is clipped out of its setting, the internet rewrites the story. It amplifies the tone, layers emotion, and packages it into something more captivating. What may have been a general reflection suddenly becomes a confession. Some saw it as a husband's apology for crossing a line, even if that line existed only in imagination. That's how the internet works. It turns subtlety into spectacle, and a sentence into a full-blown story. Just as the noise began to settle, Usha quietly appeared at a small community gathering. No drama, no hidden messages, just calm and composure. She spoke softly about faith, healing, and the enduring power of forgiveness.
My background is very different from JD's. I grew up in San Diego, in a middle-class community. With two loving parents, both immigrants from India, and a wonderful sister. That JD and I could meet at all, let alone fall in love and marry, is a testament to this great country.
And then came a single sentence that set the entire internet ablaze. Grace means standing firm when the world misreads your heart. Just one line, yet powerful enough to shift public opinion entirely. Some viewed it as a subtle, indirect response, while others saw it as a quiet confirmation of forgiveness. Whatever the interpretation, the tone of the story changed instantly. Usha was no longer seen as the silent wife. She became a symbol of composure and strength, someone who rose above the chaos. With one calm appearance, she transformed her image, from the quiet figure in a viral controversy to the resilient woman who stood tall through it all. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk faded almost completely from the public spotlight. No interviews, no speeches, no attention-seeking posts. But her online silence didn't mean she vanished. Internet users began resurfacing her older clips, moments where she spoke about faith, trust, and mental resilience, re-editing them into short videos layered with deeper meaning. Some called these compilations her true reflection, while others claimed it was part of a carefully managed image restoration. Every new picture of Erika sparked waves of discussion. JD and Usha's names filled her comment sections, and even unrelated posts became battlegrounds for debate. The tension grew so intense that Erika's team had to limit interactions, hide comments, and disable replies on several platforms. But as always, that only fueled more curiosity. Because in the digital era, silence itself becomes a message. And so, the three individuals, Usha, JD, and Erika, evolved beyond being mere participants in a viral story. They became symbols of three distinct responses to the storm of public opinion. One chose to speak with grace and empathy. One tried to uphold balance and control. and one chose silence, even though that silence allowed others to define their story. That's the irony of the modern age. Even when you refuse to speak, the algorithm pulls you back into the spotlight, trapping you in a narrative you never meant to join. What began as a fleeting viral moment has now divided public perception. One side praises J.D. Vance as a devoted husband who places his family and values above all else, calling his actions a rare display of humility in politics. The other side sees it differently, as a textbook example of media management, a strategic attempt to restore reputation rather than reveal emotion. A viral post summed it up perfectly. JD isn't remorseful, he's just strategic. Yet another replied beneath it. At least he spoke up. Most politicians wouldn't. And so, social media turned into a massive court of public opinion. Influencers hosted live streams dissecting the apology, pausing every frame to analyze his expressions, breathing, and tone. Political podcasts dedicated entire episodes to one line. One major show even dubbed it the most analyzed quote of 2025. And perhaps they're right, because in today's world, it's no longer about what you say, but how the world chooses to interpret it.
Usha? That's your man? That's your man right there? You in danger, girl. Let me tell you something. My husband has a lot of female friends. I've met all of them. We're real cool, we're cordial. Don't none of them hug him like that, because it will be a conversation. It would be a snatch and grab, okay? What's that hand doing right there? What are you doing?
Emotions travel faster than facts, and first impressions often carry more power than any explanation. J.D. Vance is no longer just a headline name. He's become a rising symbol of influence. Some insiders have even started whispering about a potential presidential run in the near future, and that's exactly why this incident carries such weight. In politics, perception is the true currency. A single misstep online can undo years of image building, while a well-timed apology, whether heartfelt or strategic, can rebuild a reputation overnight. It's no surprise that JD's team has reportedly adjusted its communication strategy, increasing public appearances with Usha, emphasizing a united family image, distancing from controversial associations, and promoting themes of faith, traditional values, and social responsibility. One insider even claimed that every new post, every frame is now reviewed more carefully than ever. Every appearance JD makes is crafted as a message of rebirth, a statement that he not only survived the storm, but turned crisis into opportunity. This wasn't just an apology. It was a campaign of restoration, an effort to rebuild trust, and perhaps a first step toward greater ambition. Meanwhile, the internet did what it always does. It turned reality into entertainment. Few cared about long-term truth. They cared about the viral version of it. Clips of JD's apology were re-edited with cinematic music. One creator merged JD and Usha's speeches into a video titled The Forgiveness Part. Another turned the moment into a fake movie trailer called The Apology, complete with dramatic music, flashing lights, and slow-motion shots. Then came the late-night shows. One host joked, JD might gain a few points in the polls, depending on how expensive his apology flowers were. The audience laughed, the clip went viral, and the cycle began again. In no time, a politician's earnest apology became meme material, parodied, remixed, and dissected. It followed the familiar rhythm: reaction, mockery, speculation, and repetition. People talked, laughed, argued, and moved on to the next controversy. That's how things work in the digital age. Truth fades, but memes live forever. In today's culture, attention is currency, and anyone, whether a public figure or an ordinary person, can suddenly become the protagonist of a story they never wrote. Now, JD and Usha appear to be reclaiming their narrative. They've been seen together at numerous public events, holding hands, smiling, attending fundraisers, and posing for photos. The media calls it the family's rebirth. Those images quickly made their way across political publications as proof of resilience and unity. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk has quietly stepped away from the spotlight. No interviews, no statements, no visible activity. Her social media remains intact, but silent, not deleted, just deliberately paused. Observers say it may be a temporary retreat, a way to let the storm settle before resurfacing in a new light. But the irony is, this story no longer needs updates. It has outgrown its original players, JD, Usha, and Erika. It's now a cultural case study, a mirror of how the digital world consumes reality and turns real emotions into media currency. People aren't just debating who's right or wrong. They're questioning trust, image, and authenticity. Commentators are asking, do apologies still matter in the digital age? And can forgiveness survive the media storm? Experts argue this is no longer just a scandal, but a social phenomenon, a reflection of how every expression, every gesture, every frame becomes a separate story for different audiences. Supporters see courage. Critics see calculation. That's the paradox of this era. We no longer tune into dramas to find scandals. We simply open our feeds and watch them unfold live, played out by real people. What's truly unsettling isn't how fast a story spreads, but how easily we consume others' lives as entertainment. Because in today's world, the line between reality and performance has nearly vanished. And we, the audience, have become unwitting co-writers of the stories we think we're only watching. A hug, a quote, an apology. And in a single viral moment, JD Vance, Usha Vance, and Erika Kirk became central figures in a story rewritten by millions of strangers online. Their lives ceased to be private. Every glance, every reaction, every meme became part of a public record they no longer controlled. What was most astonishing wasn't the virality of the 30-second clip, but how quickly mainstream media amplified it, turning a fleeting moment into a national debate. Within hours of JD's apology surfacing, major TV networks and top news sites were offering completely different interpretations of the same event. Conservative outlets praised JD as a symbol of humility, a man of faith and family values, willing to admit mistakes and balance power with compassion. One publication even compared his apology to a modern-day act of leadership. On the other side, progressive media painted a starkly different picture, calling it a carefully calculated move to manage perception ahead of future campaigns. One headline read, "JD isn't apologizing for emotion, he's apologizing for the brand." Everyone watched the same video, but saw entirely different stories, reflections of their own beliefs. Like two mirrors showing different truths, cable news dissected every detail. Was JD's voice trembling? Was his pause emotional or rehearsed? Was Usha's expression composed or hurt? It began to feel less like political coverage and more like the analysis of a film, as if the nation was interpreting art, not life. That's the reality of this new era, where politics, media, and social media merge into one endless broadcast. Gone are the days of backroom PR meetings. Now, everything unfolds live in front of millions of screens. Politics today isn't just a contest of ideas. It's a competition of images. A single post, a single phrase can redefine a career. Once it's online, you no longer own your story. Looking back, from the rumors and viral apologies to memes and mock debates, this feels like a turning point in digital politics. A reminder that power no longer lies only in policy, but in perception. Influence today is determined by algorithms as much as votes. A minor incident can shake a career, yet a perfectly timed apology can rescue it. The real question is no longer who's right or wrong, but who controls the narrative. Because when a simple hug becomes national news, when one sentence creates two different realities, we, the viewers, the sharers, the commenters, become part of the spectacle without even realizing it. The story of JD, Usha, and Erika isn't just about politics or scandal. It's a reflection of modern life, a world where everything is public, yet nothing is clear. JD Vance's apology wasn't just a statement, it became a case study in how public figures navigate reputation in an age of constant exposure, an age where the audience, not the journalist, defines the truth. And remember, it didn't start with a press conference or a campaign team. It began with a few seconds of phone footage, a hug, a post, a reaction. From there, a digital wave turned 3 lives into a national conversation. It started as humor, turned into outrage, then evolved into analysis. Today, apology itself has become performance, part strategy, part sincerity. Viral, outrage, response, atonement, then repeat. That's the rhythm of our era. Whether you admire JD Vance or not, you can't deny he's become the ultimate example of how fast public image can be rebuilt in the digital age. In days, he went from criticized to celebrated, from questioned to admired, for being real or for looking real. In this world, the gap between authenticity and performance is razor thin, and the crowd decides which is which. Was JD's apology genuine? Or was it a carefully planned move to preserve his image? That depends on who you ask. Believers call it honesty and growth. Skeptics call it perfect stagecraft. But one truth remains, it worked. In mere days, J.D. Vance not only restored his image, but solidified his mastery of modern media. He knows when to pause, when to speak, and when to let silence do the talking. And that's why this story transcends politics. It's a symbol of how power and pop culture have fused into one. Politics no longer happens behind closed doors. It unfolds on timelines, in comment sections, and across millions of screens. J.D. Vance, intentionally or not, has become the lead in a real-time social media drama, where every viewer is part critic, part creator. This story proves one thing: an apology might be strategic, but its impact is real. JD's public image has been reborn through the storm of public perception, and that is both the power and the price of living in the digital age. So, what do you think? Is JD Vance being sincere, or is this just a perfectly timed play in a story he knows he can't escape? Is he mastering the storm, or simply surviving it? Share your thoughts below. Every perspective tells its own truth. According to public sources, this story continues to gain attention online. Our coverage reflects public discussion and interest only, without any intention to confirm or speculate about private lives. All content is for commentary and informational purposes. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to Spill Rush, turn on notifications, and stay tuned as we continue exploring the stories shaping the virtual world. Because in this age, every apology can be a campaign, and every viral moment a lesson in power.